Okay, good evening ladies and gentlemen. We wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land within the Shire of Chittering, the Ewart and Whadjuk peoples. We would like to pay respect to the elders of the Noongar Nation, past and present, who have walked and cared for the land. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contributions made to this region. I declare the meeting open at 7:01. And councillors and the public, please be aware, as per Council Resolution 1304/23, this meeting is being live streamed. Item 2, record of attendance and apologies and approve leaves of absence and announcements. So in attendance we have one apology from Council. We have apology from Councillor Mark Campbell. Otherwise all of Council is present. The following staff present: Melinda Prinsloo, Chief Executive Officer; Scott Clayton, Deputy Chief Executive Officer; Jake Whistler, Executive Manager of Development Service; and Vienna McCartney, Principal Planner; and Leah Puda, Executive Manager of Technical Services; and Anna Bateman as Executive Assistant taking the minutes tonight. Councillors, are there any? There are no proved leave of absence. So we'll go to announcements. Councillors, please advise your attendance in your role as elected member, which most of you have done that already. Are there any amendments to the announcements? If there are no amendments to the announcement, I'll move on. Item 3, disclosures of interest. Councillors, we have 3 disclosures of interest today. I'll read those. I've got them here. Councillor Kamal Ross has the interest nature is a proximity. The nature extent of that interest is relates to DS02 1124 application for development approval, short-term accommodation for farm stay at Lot 6, Great Northern Highway, Bindu. The extent of that interest is the property in which the councillor resides as a large property footage spanning across multiple properties. The approximate proximity of the proposed location is 1.5 kilometres from the homestead in which the councillor resides. So a proximity issue has been declared and pursuant to section 5.6(b)(2)(b) of the Local Government Act. So thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Ross has also declared an impartiality interest in item Community Citizen of Awards, which is item CON 03 1124. The nature of that interest is that her spouse is a member of the Management Committee of Landcare, and the extent is that Chittering Landcare is nominated for the award. So, thank you. Any others, Councillor Ross? Thank you. Councillor Kylie Hughes has a impartiality interest in CON 03 1124, Community of the Year Awards 2024. The nature of that interest is that she's a member of several nominee groups, and the extent is that she has interest in the community in many, or interest or participation in many of their community groups. So thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillors, are there any other disclosures of interest? Thank you. I'll move on.
You've got Councillor Curtis here.
Oh,
No.
Sorry. Item 4, public question time. Response to previous public questions taken on notice, there are nil. Public question time. Are there any questions? Public questions? Not yet. The deputation's coming up.
Can I get up?
You can ask a question if you want. Or,
Is this about the farm sale?
no, that's coming up in a minute.
I'll wait for that.
Thank you. No public questions. Item 5, presentations, petitions and deputations. There are nil petitions, nil presentations, but we have 2 deputations. First deputation is DEP 01 from Rod Palmer. Speaking to the officer's recommendation, DS02 1124, application for development approval, short-term accommodation, farm stay lot 6, Great Northern Highway, Bindu. The floor is yours, Rod.
Thanks very much, Councillor.
Can you just press that little button on the speaker? Thank you.
That one there?
Thank you.
There we go, my first time. Okay, thanks very much for inviting me to council to make the deputation. I don't have a whole big speech prepared other than to say we're fully supportive of the officer's recommendations as noted there. What I would say is, we count kind enough for the town planners to pop up to the property. We worked through them, what the offering was and where it was, and et cetera, et cetera. So we've already talked about all these conditions that are noted in the report, and we're happy to work with those to put the short-term accommodation in place. So we're fully supportive of the recommendations, happy to work with them.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you very much.
The next deposition is DP 02 1124 by Mr Carl Peterson, speaking to the officer's recommendation DS 02 1124, application for development approval, short-term accommodation farm stay, lot 6, Great Northern Highway, Bindu. Carl.
You'll have to bear with me, hearing aids aren't working too well. Well, good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Carl Peterson, 6465 Great Northern Highway, Bindoon. Well, as far as the farm stay goes, I'm not against the farm stay building. It's just where it is at the moment. And apparently, when I went through the agenda today, this afternoon, I found out that some of your guidelines aren't being adhered to. For instance, the farm stay's already been built. It hasn't been approved yet, from what I can work out. And also, the building has been built. It's already in place and built. The last time I saw it, it was on a three axle trailer. You could have moved it, but it's been built with everything around it now. And it's also within 20 metres of my fence line where the bush area is. Now, I was aware, I was told by people in this shire that there's a 50 metre setback. So what happened to the 50 metres? When I built my house about 9 years ago, I had to comply with the guidelines, which was 200 metres from the old house, and I did that before I built it. So how come this gets built in place already, and it's being decided on tonight? I don't mind. I wouldn't have minded so much if there was more negotiations between me and Rod. I'd quite like Rod and his wife, but this has made it very difficult for me and my wife, and no doubt Rod and his wife. But, anyway, it's mainly about the main reason I don't like it being there is because of the dangerous position with shooters up there, including myself, Murray Kay, and I'm pretty sure it's Rod, the local kangaroo shooters up there quite a bit apparently. But if not so much Murray Kay, but Montgomery's at the front of Palmer's farm, they haven't been notified of it, this building, and also Les Parsons, who's back at, the eastern side of boundary runs right over the top, right near the corner where this farm stay is, and they said, there's no adjoining gate into my property from Palmer's, but hang on, the gate that's from Palmer's into Les Parsons's is a big cyclone gate that's put there for the fire brigade, and on the same strainer post there's another cyclone gate into my property. So all you've got to do is go through one gate, walk 5 metres and go through the other one. So if you've got kids up there, you know what kids are like, if they go in there through those gates, And like I say, it's, with people shooting up there, I no doubt we're all responsible shooters, myself, Murray Kay and the kangaroo shooter, and whoever else shoots up there, you know, that's got permission. But you got to worry about ricochets, and I know all about them, you know, ricochets, because there's a lot of rocks up there and the bullets do ricochet off the rocks, you know, simple as that. So I was told by a particular person here in the Shire at the Shire the other day that, you know, if I shoot, I'm responsible for not shooting anyone. Well, I mean to say, you know, I've had guns for, 65 years now. Never shot anyone yet, maybe myself, but that's another story. But, you know, I mean to say, you've got to worry about the safety situation with it. And it's like I say, it's put myself, my wife and Rod Palmer and his wife in a difficult situation. And I agree with the business with dogs. He's not allowing dogs, which is really good, you know, because on that block of mine I've got a lot of echidnas, rock pythons, all that sort of stuff. And I'm in negotiations with land care at Mushea. I want to get them to put fencing around it, you know, and classify it as a reserve, you know, and they drag their feet like most of these government departments. Yeah. But, you know, if you want to ask me questions, go right ahead.
It's not.
But I'd like to know about this setback business, you know.
I'll refer to the executive manager.
We have a setback local planning policy which prescribes buildings in the agricultural resource zone to be set back 30 metres from property boundaries and 100 metres from a major highway. A reference to, I think it was a 200 metre setback from an existing dwelling. That's not in our planning framework at the moment. Maybe it was historically. I can't comment on that.
Well, you know, like I said, I complied with all your guidelines and that when I built my house, and I reckon this is not good enough, you know, what this situation.
All right, thank you, Carla. Any other points you wish to raise?
Beg your pardon?
Any other points you wish to raise?
No, about other things, but I won't.
That's fine. Thank you, Carl.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Item 6, application for leave of absence. Councillors, are there any applications for leave? No applications for leave. Item 7, confirmation of minutes of ordinary council meeting 16th of October 2024. Can I have a mover for that officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Angus. Seconder, Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. I believe they were a true reference of the previous meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor Ross.
All fine.
Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? All right, reply not required.
Okay, thank you.
Councillors, no one speaking against the officer's recommendation. I'll declare carried with that dissent 6-0. Item 8, announcements from the presiding member. There are a few. First announcement. I'm happy to announce that the Shire of Chittering has been recognised for its outstanding contribution to the tourism industry. At the recent Perth Airport WA Tourism Awards, the Shire was awarded bronze in the category of Local Government Award for Tourism, with the Perth Hills Consortium taking gold and the City of Perth taking silver. This recognition reflects the hard work and dedication of our team in promoting the Shire of Chittering as a destination, enhancing our visitor experiences and supporting our local businesses. So congratulations to everyone involved in this remarkable accomplishment and punching well above your weight against the much larger local governments. So congratulations. It was a long night. Second point, at a recent citizenship ceremony held in Chambers on the 15th of November, we had the privilege of welcoming 2 new Australians to the Shire of Chittering. This is a proud moment for our community, reflecting the diversity and inclusivity that makes our Shire so special. I warmly congratulate our new citizens and look forward to their contributions to our vibrant community. Next, I would like to thank Wendy Reid for the donation of 4 beautiful drawings by Don Brinks, an artist who lived in Mouchet. Showcases historical landmarks within our Shire. These artworks are now displayed in council chambers where they can be best preserved. We sincerely appreciate this thoughtful contribution to our community. Last Friday, the 15th of November, the Community Development Team, led by Natalie Van Ruin, facilitated a very successful Seniors Week morning tea and bowls day at Chickabee Complex, which 76 people attended, which is a big turnout for us. So,
That was on Thursday.
Thursday, 15th of November?
Because we were here on Friday.
Yes, it's the 14th, apologies.
14th? 14th, I'll change that. Thank you, Councillor Angus. Lastly, the Shire's Community Development Team, led by Emily Moore, are working hard with around 30 of our community groups and local business to build a Christmas tree grotto next to the Bindoon Hardware Store and Bindoon Place, Binder Place. The grotto will host this year's International Volunteer Day celebration and then will be open right up until Christmas for the community to enjoy. So the other one is the International Volunteer Day is on
6th of December.
6th of December, I think. So just be aware that's coming up, councillors, and if you can attend, I'm sure that'd be greatly received by the volunteers to see their support. Item 9, reports. Development Services, DS01, proposed amendment to Local Planning Policy 1, sea containers. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation to resolve to amend the Local Planning Policy 29 and commence the required public advertising. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? I'll move it. Seconder, please. Councillor Angus. So this policy addresses a few gaps in the policy. This revision to the policy addresses a few gaps and provides a bit more clarity for the planners in regards to compliance and also to the community where they can and cannot have containers. It's good to see that I guess an attempt has been made to deal fairly with all of our land uses, our land zones, so particularly agricultural resource in the way in which this policy has been structured. So I appreciate the effort going into it to try and provide a balanced policy across our entire community. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. I'm also pleased to see this policy updated, and one of the things specifically that caught my eye was explaining when a container no longer is a container and can actually become something else, whether it's a container house or the shelters that you see with containers on the side. So then they're no longer containers, so I'm pleased to see that. Thank you.
Councillor Angus. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just briefly, I suppose to make really the obvious statement that there are some things that show up on our agenda where we can be sure that most people in the Shire have an opinion, and sea containers, where they are and what they do, would be on that list. So it is very helpful that this provides better clarity than what we've had before. It will soothe some ruffled feathers, hopefully.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Curtis.
Mr. President, I hope I'll support this motion, but I hope they enforce it better than what we've been enforcing it, because there's sea containers around town that has been there for a couple of years. So as long as it's been enforced, I'm in support of it.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillors, any other comment, any debate? Councillors, I don't need right or require, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Councillors, I'll put the officer's recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? Carried 6-0, thank you. Next item of business is DS02, application for development approval, short-term accommodation farmstay, lot 6, Great Northern Highway, Bindoon. Councillors, you'll be aware from the disclosures of interest that Councillor Ross has declared a proximity interest in this item. As per the regulations, I would like to request Councillor Ross to leave the council chambers to allow council to consider her request to participate in discussion and vote on the item. So Councillor Ross will... And can you record that Councillor Ross left the room at 7:21? So councillors, in accordance with the provisions of section 5.61B that's I, of the Local Government Act, council and committees may permit members who have disclosed an interest in a matter under section 5.65 to participate in meetings. The members present at the meeting who are entitled to vote on the matter may decide to allow the disclosing member to participate in discussion and decision making relevant to the matter, provided the interest is deemed trivial or insignificant and unlikely to affect the decision disclosing member's conduct regarding the matter. Councillor Ross indicated in her declaration that she resides on a farm situated across the Great Northern Highway from the subject property. The farm on which she resides has a 2-kilometre frontage along the highway with several properties, including the subject property located directly across the road. Councillor Ross indicated that it was worth noting that the planning officer did not consider the farmstay sufficiently proximate to warrant consultation about the farmstay cabin proposed in the agenda item. If I didn't read that clearly, she was not contacted or consulted by the planners. The proposed cabin in question is located at the rear of the proponent's property, approximately 1.5 kilometres from Councillor Ross's homestead. Councillor Ross acknowledges in her declaration that she has a proximity interest and under the Act believes the extent of this interest is minimal and unlikely to influence her decision making on the matter. As such, Councillor Ross has requested that Council consider allowing her to participate in the discussion and vote on this item. So, councillors, we have, there's 3 options here. One, withhold the, not allow Councillor Ross to either participate, to attend or participate, which is the default position, or council can resolve that the proximity interest is trivial and insignificant and unlikely to affect her conduct. And you can either resolve Councillor Ross to attend, so to stay but not vote, or to participate in the matter and vote on the matter. So they're the options councillors have. So what I'll do is might move to suspend standing orders to allow the discussion to take place, and then we can take on that. So I'll move to suspend standing orders. Can I have a second for that?
Second, yes.
Thank you. All those in favour of suspending standing orders? Carried. So that was moved Councillor King, seconded Councillor Hughes, and carried 6-0. So, councillors, who wants to open up the discussion?
I was just going to move that we allow Councillor Ross to attend because I think it's trivial considering the distance from this item and the impact or lack of impact it's likely to have on her.
So that's already worded up here.
That's already worded. I guess we can draft this. Yeah.
Sorry, so we're debating this rather than, and then we'll
So I've suspended.
end up in a vote.
Yeah, so I've suspended standing orders so you can
Yep.
talk and discuss openly. The idea is to sort of formulate
Yep.
a position and then we'll resume standing orders and then vote.
Vote, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't see have a problem with Carmel being involved. I mean, it's 1.5 kilometres away. I think it's pretty insignificant really from what I can gather. That's my stance, hang on.
Yeah, I think she should be involved in the decision.
Oh, okay.
Do you say should not or should?
I can't see why not.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I agree. I think she's opposite several properties, so you know, it's not the only property that her property faces.
Okay, my view is a little different. My view is you can't be half pregnant. So you either have a proximity issue, proximity, or you don't. So whilst there's provision under the Act to allow Councillor Ross to attend and vote, I just gone the black and white, to be honest. So my view is no to both, but that's fine. All right, Councillor, so we'll put up the motion to allow Councillor... I know, thank you. I'll put up... The motion that will be put up is to resolve that Councillor Ross participate in the deliberations and vote on the matter. If we're all good with that, I'll move to resume standing orders. I have a seconder for that. Councillor Dewar, all those in favour to resume standing orders? Carried. 5-0, thank you. Councillor Angus, would you like to move the motion that...
Happy to move the motion.
Okay, so the motion reads that Council considers the proximity issue... No, sorry, let me try that again. That Council considers the proximity interest that Councillor Ross has declared as so trivial or insignificant that it is unlikely to affect her conduct regarding this matter. And 2, resolve that Councillor Ross, with 2 CRs, special, to participate in the deliberations on this matter and vote on the item before Council. Okay. Councillor Angus, you're the mover.
Yes, I think...
Can I have a second first?
Oh,
Can I have a
sorry.
second, please? Councillor Dewar. Let me just write this one down. Thank you. Councillor Angus.
Yes, I think it's very unlikely that Councillor Ross, given where she's positioned, this would impact on her at all, or she would be seen to have a biased view, given the lack of impact.
Thank you. Councillor Dewar.
Yeah, I just think if she's 1.5 kilometres away, I can't see nothing's jumping out at me saying that there's going to be an issue with her being involved in discussions and or the vote, or and the vote as well. So that's my position on it.
Thank you, Councillor Dewar. Speaking against, it's me. My view is the disclosure interest relates to perception, and anyone's perception is anyone's perception. So to avoid perception, my view would be to not to vote, and so to avoid any potential incorrect perceptions. Regardless whether I do think it's a trivial matter, but I do believe it's these disclosures of interest could be perceived by someone else. Maybe not us, but by someone else. So I will be voting against. Councillor Hughes.
I was just going to speak in favour, just to raise the further point that given our numbers tonight, Councillor Ross cannot have a deciding vote. That would come down to yourself, Councillor King.
Assume. Sorry, say that again.
If there is, it wouldn't be a deciding vote because there's 6 councillors present.
Can't control that, unfortunately. Okay. Any other debate? Councillor Curtis?
Nothing bad.
Councillor Angus, you have right of reply.
Nothing else, thank you.
Councillor Angus. All right, everyone, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Against? 4-1. Thank you. Can we ask Councillor Angus to...
Ross.
Councillor Ross, sorry. We'll ask Councillor Angus to ask Councillor Ross. How's that?
To come back in.
To come back in.
Because they're both Scottish names, I know.
Right, so that's been done. Right, thank you, Councillor Ross. All right, so now we'll deal with the officer's recommendation. So Council, you have, Councillor Ross, Council has voted to allow you to be present and vote and participate, and vote. Thank you, I've got to tell you that. Right, back to the substantive motion. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation that grants development approval for the short-term accommodation, subject to all those conditions. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus, thank you. Can I have a seconder for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Hughes. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. We've been provided with quite a detailed, in-depth report about this item by the Planning Department. And I'm satisfied with the photos we've been provided, the quality of the report, that all things that come to mind to be considered have been considered, and that the applicant has also been agreeable with anything that we've suggested might be done differently. I know there was questioning about the distance from the boundary fence being only 20 metres instead of the prescribed, I think it's 30. And looking at the photos and reading the report, there's evidence in there of why that distance is so, given that there's areas on the property that are quite steep and were not suitable to put the building. So I'm satisfied that it's out of view of all adjoining properties. It's likely to have minimal impact. The applicant is happy to put signage in regards to risk of shooting that may happen on adjoining properties, and I'm happy to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor Hughes.
Nothing more to add. I agree with Councillor Angus, other than just to point out that the difference of 10 metres from a boundary, if you were going to be significantly injured by a gunshot, isn't going to make that much difference, and the shooters should be responsible for making sure they're shooting within the bounds of the property that they're on. And I do believe the signage has been provided there to mitigate that risk as well. So I'm happy to support the officer recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Anyone speaking against? Councillor Curtis.
Mr. President, I think this cabin should be built further on his property, not close to the property in question. I mean, he's already built it. Why didn't he put it where, far enough away from his neighbours so not cause all this trouble? I mean, he's upsetting his neighbour. And why do that? That's why I can't support it.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillors.
Can I
Councillor Dewar,
add?
speak to it? Yes, you can. Your turn, Councillor Dewar.
Yeah. Look, I do support it, although the comments that Mr. Peterson raised are, valid. And so long as I think some of those points are addressed or scrutinised and acted on, I'll support it. Although those points from Mr. Peterson do need to be considered.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Dewar. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. The only additional comment I'd make is that it's always unfortunate when the application comes in after the facility has been developed and put in place. But in our thinking, we need to kind of set that aside and evaluate it on its own merit anyway, and hope that others learn who might be doing this in the future that it's best to do step one before step two. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. My turn. I guess the only other good comments made, it still is on wheels, so it's still on 3 axles, so it's not permanently, it is still movable, even though it's got some connection to structures. beyond the undercarriage of the triaxle. So it's still movable, and it is quite unfortunate that this is retrospective and not done prior to the development taking place. And I'm confident that the conditions deal with the risks, and the proponent has been very forthcoming and amenable to trying to meet these requirements, and also, obviously, try and put their neighbours at ease. So I think I support the application. I support the officer's recommendation. Councillor Angus, you have right of reply.
Thank you. And yeah, just to confirm, as Councillor King has said, it is unfortunate that the application didn't come before the building. And just to clarification again on the position on the property, although it is only 20 metres from the boundary fence, it's been placed there so that it is out of view of the house on the same property, but it's also not 20 metres from any adjoining houses, but a long distance, and totally out of view of any adjoining property residences. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Okay, councillors, I'll put the officer's recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried 5-1. Next item of business is DS03, proposed scheme amendment number 71, rezoning of lots 202 to 203 Wandina Road, Mouchet, from agricultural resource to light industry. Zone lots 204 to 205 Great Northern Highway, Mouchet, from agricultural resource to general industry. Please have a mover for the officer's recommendation. Councillor Ross. Seconder. Councillor Angus. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. This is this application is similar to other kinds of applications that we've had over time with the Mouchet Industrial Park. It's a kind of first step in the process of getting the final layout of the land to suit the industrial purposes of that area. The documentation provided to us is quite clear about what's proposed. I see no reason not to support this.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Councillor, is anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus, Councillor Ross, you have right of reply.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillors, I'll put the, no one speaking against, I'll put the officer's recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. 6-0. Next item of business is DS04, proposed scheme amendment number 75, rezoning of lots 1, 99 and 720 Santa Cruz Drive, Lower Chittering, Immaculate College. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Angus, seconded Councillor Curtis. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. We've had quite some discussion about this, and I know some councillors have concerns about the number of items included in the special use. I would like to see this go ahead. It does look like a broad range of special use items, but when you look to the future and look at the bigger picture, you consider all the things listed there. We're looking at an education facility, and all those uses are used in education facilities around the country, universities, etc. There's discussion also about whether the owners may sell off some of the land and it won't be an education facility and it will be sold on to someone else who may put in some of these uses. We've talked for several years about activating the space down there for the people in Lower Chittering, and I think any of the things on that list would be an advantage to that part of the community. To put this scheme amendment through is not automatically given permission to build certain things with no other input. It's all subject to planning matters. They all require development approval. It talks about single houses and what the requirements would be. So I would be happy to see it go ahead as it is.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. And Councillor Curtis.
Mr. President, yeah, I concur with Councillor Angus. I think it's good that finally Lower Chittering will get something down there, and it can only be for the benefit. Simple. I totally support it.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillor, anyone speaking against? Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am not at ease at all with this this motion for the rezoning to special use. I do not believe that the likely future of this school requires the very large parcel of land that is contained when you look at the three blocks that are proposed for special use zone 6, and also noting that there is already a special use zone 1 immediately to the south of this land. So, Mr. President, I'd like to inform Council that I have an alternative motion.
A foreshadowed motion.
Yep, thank you. And that involves the... go ahead now with what that would
Yes, so
entail.
just the foreshadowed motion is up on the screen. And just quickly, Councillor, perhaps you should just mention what the difference is on this one.
Yes. My objective in the alternative motion is
foreshadowed motion.
Sorry. Foreshadowed motion is to remove lot 720. So the wording that has been changed in this is at the very end in point 3 that's highlighted on the screen, which I'll just read that particular point. Pursuant to Regulation 37 of the Planning and Development Local Planning Scheme Regulations 2015, seeks approval of the Commission to advertise the proposed amendment under Scheme Section 83A of the Planning and Development Act 2005 with the following modification: removal of lot 720 from the scheme amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Do you wish to talk anything further to the substantive motion?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Councillor King. I cannot support this motion as it's currently worded. I don't think that lot 720, which is currently rural residential, would reflect the amenity of the surrounding area if that were to be included with the vast number of special uses proposed there. What's important to note is that Lower Chittering, and particularly Maryville Estate, was a staged development. There was 12 stages and there was a structure plan over the entirety, which is when that block, which is lot number 700, I believe.
20.
No, the one at the bottom, 700.
700, yeah.
Yeah, so some of the proposed uses there are arts and crafts centre, bed and breakfast, caretakers dwelling, childcare premises, civic use, community purpose, convenience store, lunch bar, place of assembly, public utility, restaurant, shop, telecommunications, infrastructure and veterinary centre. That was originally earmarked as a little shopping centre for the surrounding community, and I believe that this would actually prohibit that going ahead for the surrounding community and moving many of those uses just onto the school site itself, which would preclude the surrounding community from being able to have a shopping centre and some of those other additional uses that have now been excluded from being built with the school. In their current plans, they've got in this scheme amendment. So I don't believe I can support this scheme amendment as it currently stands.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Dewar, anything from you?
Yeah, I just some of these uses and grandiose plans and ideas just seem a bit over the top for me. It's all a bit too complicated. I mean, it's a very small school. Sure, it'll probably grow. It's not going to take on UWA or Sydney University, so it doesn't really need all these, fancy things on campus. And certainly not in the short term. Maybe in 30 or 40 years, but it's just too, the whole thing's just a bit over the top for me. So I'm not going to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Dewar. My turn to talk to the item. I also don't support the officer's recommendation, but I do support the rezoning of lots 1 and 99, but I don't support the rezoning of lot zone 720. It's not within keeping of the amenity of the area. That is, the special use conditions of special use purposes is not within the keeping of the area for which the residential zoning was applied and the planning was put around that in the past. So I think it's not appropriate. And then I think, but I do support lot 199. So I do echo a lot of some of the councillors' view, and I do see the way forward is really to continue with the motion, and Councillor Angus has the right of reply.
Thank you. I understand what Councillor Hughes, where she's coming from in regards to the facilities that we expected to be provided for the community on the corner there of Santa Gertrudis. And there's every possibility that if this was to go through and 720 was also a special use lot, that a shopping complex of some sort may be provided in the future around there. We really don't know. And 80% of plans never come to fruition anyway. So I don't think we'd be precluding the community from having those services. And also, I know there was discussion also about houses being built on the school land. We provide houses for our staff across the road, so there's probably no reason why the school wouldn't provide housing for their staff or others. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillors, that was right of reply. We'll put the officer's recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? Against? So in favour was 2, against was 4. So the substantive motion is lost. We now move to the foreshadowed motion, which now becomes the new substantive motion.
I'm happy to move that, Mr.
And
President.
Councillor Ross will move the new substantive motion. So just 1 minute. And a seconder for the new substantive motion is Councillor Hughes. Thank you. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. I am concerned at the volume of land that was designated for the entire special use number 6 area. And like Councillor King, I'm very comfortable with lots 1 and 99 benefiting from a special use classification. I think we should bear in mind that the school already is also the owner of the block immediately to the south, lot 700, which is already zoned special use 1. The recommendation we have is to create an identical set of possible uses and conditions for special use 6. So I'm mindful in looking at this that that the school opened in 2012. It's quite unusual in a state with the growth of of southwest WA that it's only reached 415 students in 12 years. So it seems to me that this isn't a rapid growing school at all, and I don't see that that's about to change. So my view is that the land available in lots 700, 1 and 99 would adequately provide for the likely future needs of this school for some time. I'm also mindful that lot 700, which is now special use 1, was approved in 2008. It remains a vacant block, so is available to the school to expand. And if what I've suggested about, in fact, the quite slow growth of the school turns out to be in error, there would be nothing to stop this applicant from putting forward an application in the future for lot 720 to go to a special use zoning that is similar to what is already in place in special use 1, lot 700, and which I believe is appropriate to apply to lots 1 and 99, so that there would be 3 blocks with identical zoning options at that point. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Councillor King. I concur with many of the points that Councillor Ross has raised, and I do believe that the school master plan can be accommodated within the area that would be part of this scheme amendment, excluding the lot at the top, 720, which is currently zoned for rural residential. And I think, again, to reiterate that this is a staged development of the estate, and all other owners that have bought in there was done so with the expectation that it will be a rural amenity as outlined in that original structure plan. So I think this differs from that considerably, allowing the possibility of smaller lots on that 720, removing the rural character of the 5-acre blocks, which is what the rest of the surrounding area is. Again, I think that this will preclude other developers and business people putting businesses on that corner lot if there's already something duplicated within that school zone, which isn't open to the whole community to use. So I believe that that will definitely still prohibit the whole community from having access to all of those intended services that were going to be on that lot 700.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor, anyone speaking against the substantive motion?
I'm against when this is an education facility, people who bought land around there should know what they got into. What's wrong with having smaller lots around the school?
Okay, Councillor Curtis. Councillors. Councillor Angus.
While I don't agree with the removal of lot 720, I will support this motion, because the alternative is that I'm not supporting anything for them, and they do need to have some rezoning. So I will support it, but with reservations.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor Dewar.
Yeah, I'm supporting this new substantive motion, I believe. The terminology is a little bit tricky. Put forward by my colleagues over here, or Councillor Ross. I don't see the why 720 should be included if there's a chance for it to be subdivided into lots of small lots. I think it would detract from the small lots in that area, and I just don't think it would be a good look. And so I agree with Councillor Ross's new proposition.
Thank you, Councillor Dewar. Councillor, it's my turn. I support the substantive motion. A lot's been said, but I do believe the special use over 700 is not appropriate. It's rural residential. It's it was intended to be developed in 5-acre rural residential lots, and that was the amenity of the area. And and so I don't think it should be changed. I would welcome at a later date that the school come back with a more detailed plan on what they want to do with lot 720, so that we could potentially reconsider this item again. But until that time, I support the substantive motion. Councillor Ross, you write a reply.
No, I think it's all been said. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Councillor Ross. Councillors, no more debate. I'll put the substantive motion to the vote. All those in favour? So councillors, it's carried. Councillor Dewar, Councillor Angus, Councillor King, Councillor Ross and Councillor Hughes. Against? Councillor Dewar. So, sorry, Curtis. You don't get it wrong. Both sitting there. So the vote was 5-1. My apologies.
Mr. President, do we need to state a rationale for having done this, or is procedurally?
Do we need to state?
Like an advice note.
Yes, you just,
So where do we state them underneath?
so you just have to, you just say for the purpose of the minute, we would like to note the following reasons for council making this.
Okay. For the purpose of the vote, council would like to note the following reasons for its decision. Councillor Ross will outline those.
That already there is a fourth parcel of land, lot 700, that has identical special use zoning conditions. Anna, that needs to say identical special use zoning conditions, just the word identical in front of, to what has been endorsed for special use 6. We note, new sentence, we note the school has been in operation for over 12 years and has only grown to a student population. Of 415. Full stop. The land available in lots 700, 1 and 99 would likely be sufficient to adequately provide for the foreseeable future needs of this school. Full stop. Should this prove to be in error, the applicant would be able to lodge a future application to have lot 720 also zoned special use with similar conditions to special use 1 and 6.
Councillor Ross, I wonder whether we want to add something else to say, to be a bit more pointed, I guess, to say that the special use condition 6 is not within keeping of the rural amenity of rural residential that the original structure plan for the area was developed. I think that's a fundamental part of it.
Yeah.
Will we repeat that?
Just put, councillors have also pointed out That special use 6, etc.
That special use 6 is not in keeping with the rural amenity and structure planning, is that the correct word? Structure planning originally,
For this area.
structure planning for this area.
The original stuff.
The original structure planning for this area.
So for the estate,
Yeah, you can say the estate. Yeah, estate. Is it estate? Yeah,
because there was a
estate.
structure plan for the whole state, then there's structure plans for each of the stages.
Would you like to refer to your...
Can I refer to our executive manager?
Sorry, I'm struggling to read that.
We,
Yep, that sounds correct. The wording there sounds correct.
so council have also pointed, maybe not pointed, councillors have also, councillors consider that special use 6 is not in keeping with the rural amenity and original structure planning for this estate.
Would be the zoning uses, is that?
I'm happy to take wording.
Yeah.
Councillors
Should refer
consider
to the
special
zones.
use 6 to not to be in keeping.
Is not to be.
No. So, can I?
Yes, please.
So, council considers special use 6 not to be in keeping with the rural amenity. So take that out, please.
Yep, that's fine.
So councillor Ross, I just query the first part of that, whether that's all that relevant. So just think about it. From a planning perspective, what you're saying is not relevant. The second point is relevant, because what we're saying is our special use 6 is not within keeping the rural amenity. That is a planning matter, given the original structure planning of the
They
estate.
refer to that lot 700 land uses in their application. So it
Yeah,
is-
I'm just concerned that the size of the school is really not a planning consideration.
I don't mind it being taken out.
So I'm thinking really that's really the fundamental issue here, isn't it? That the special use 6 is not within keeping of the rural amenity and the original structure planning. That's what we're saying, isn't it? Because in our removal of 720, that is really the reason why.
Yep.
So perhaps we'll remove the first
2 paragraphs.
first 2 paragraphs and just go with that last one. Yep. And for the purpose of the minutes, after Councillor Ross, you can just...
Oh, did you want to just include that the guts of it was that we believe that what they want to achieve can be achieved over that portion of land?
I don't think that's not a consideration. That's up for them to decide. I think the view has to be around planning, and that it's not consistent in the keeping.
Okay.
And then that's
Encroaching onto the rural residential
yeah,
zone,
yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to have some other reason because you've already got
Yeah.
a special use area there. So if you can have one, why would another one not be?
Because it's already zoned residential.
Yeah, so this is across what is currently zoned rural residential, perhaps you need to include.
Because that's already rural residential and changed to special use, right? So that's not within keeping of the original structure plan.
Actually, it needs to say that special use 6 for
For
lot
for
720.
lot 720.
Yeah.
Is not
Yes.
in
Yeah.
keeping.
Correct.
Yep.
Currently
720.
zoned rural residential, maybe you need to put in there.
You can write currently zoned rural residential, that's fine. Is not would be better, is not
Yeah,
in,
is not.
In
It's not
keeping
in
with the
keeping.
rural amenity.
is not, get rid of 2B. Not to be, in keeping with the rural amenity original structure planning for this estate. Yeah. I think that councillors were in agreement of that note, and I think that that deals with. All right, that concludes that item. Right, let me push on. Technical services. Neil. Corporate services, CS01, list of accounts paid for the period ending 31st of October 2024. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation to receive the list of accounts. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Oh, sorry, I was looking the wrong way. Who put their hand up first?
Was
Councillor Curtis,
Yeah.
thank you, and then Councillor Angus was the seconder. My apologies, I got distracted. Councillor Curtis.
Mr President, I just got 4 items here. I'd like to know what they were for.
Okay.
Number 13, Burnville for $100,000.
Just 1 minute. Are we able to do this now, or you'll take them on notice? It's going to be very hard. I've got the agenda item here if you want to. Thank you.
I think we'd have to take this on notice.
Take that one on notice.
And number 31, Digger West, 35,000.
Take it on notice.
Number 50, Maryvale Wines, 17,000.
Take it on notice.
Northern Valley Plumbing, 7,000. Number 57.
Take it on notice.
And Tractor Man, number 80, 48,000.
Take on notice. Thank you.
5 breaks.
It's a lot of money.
Yes.
Lot of wine.
So the CEO has taken those on notice and will provide a response back to you on those. Anything else? Councillor Curtis?
No, that's it, Mr President.
Were you a forensic accountant in a previous life?
That's my accountant. No.
So Councillor Curtis, so that we can be more timely in the future, if you could, in advance, provide the questions of the
But they
items.
don't come out until a couple of days. We used to come out one.
My point
2
still
weeks
stands,
ago.
Councillor Curtis, if you could possibly find it in your busy schedule to ask the questions in advance, you can still ask them at the meeting, but we'll be able to give you an answer at the meeting rather than
Can I
having to
just-
take them on notice.
Can I just send and ask before the meeting?
You can, but you still need to ask at the meeting to get the official answer. It's just because otherwise you're getting an answer without actually asking in front of everyone.
Yeah, well, I'm just querying. Could be something dodgy there. I don't know.
I understand that. You've got every right to ask a question. I'm just in the interest of expediency, making sure you get an answer quickly. If you've got prior warning, you can probably get the answer on the night. Okay, Councillor Curtis, Councillor Angus.
I didn't find anything that I felt was out of order. Thank you.
Good. Councillors, anyone?
Sorry, at the risk of falling into that same category, so I'm happy to take the answers on notice. I did have a query in regards to payment 91 to Bragg Scale for the council chamber modification of the honour boards, building maintenance, enclosure of depot staff room, and Bindu Mountain Bike Park weekly clean of both toilets. In regards to that one, is that cleaned once a week, or because we do have other cleaners that clean other areas, not maintenance?
Those I can actually answer for you.
Ah, good.
So we've had to modify the honour boards here to fit into the new walls where they were slightly bigger. So you'll remember there was a big one that was over there. We had to get it modified to fit the walls here. The enclosure of the depot was a budgeted item that we have had the outside depot enclosed for the extreme heat in the summer where the crew were open under just a corrugated roof. So for the lunchroom, it was a council approved budget item, and the cleaning would have been a special cleaning because of it being on top of the mountain, and our cleaners don't generally go there.
It was while our building maintenance man was on leave.
On leave, yes.
Okay, so that's normally done by our own
Yes.
maintenance department ordinarily. Thank you.
It's just a once-off.
Okay. Anything else, Councillor Hughes?
No.
Councillors, anything else? Okay, councillors. Councillor John Curtis, you have right of reply.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councillors, I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. 6-0. All councillors, do I have to spell them? Right. Next item of business. CS02, monthly financial report for the period ending 31st October 2024. Councillors, you have the officer's recommendation. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus is the seconder, thank you. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. The reports are clearly and well presented, so it's easy for everybody to follow. Unfortunately, we're tracking in the right direction with respect to following the budget for the year.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
My thoughts are the same as Councillor Ross, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Ross, right of reply. Okay, councillors, I'll declare carried without dissent, 6-0. No one speaking against, that is. Unanimously, 6-0. I know, I barely spell it. Okay. Next item is Chief Executive Officer CEO 01, Work Health and Safety Statistic Report for October 2024. Councillors, you have a officer's recommendation to receive this report. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Angus. Seconder, please. Councillor Ross. Councillor Angus.
Again, I'm happy to receive this report. It's always good to see that there's ongoing training, there's negative drug and alcohol tests, and near misses are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor Ross.
Similar, Mr. President, always good to see that there are no new work cover claims being lodged, and that the training's happening and that the drug and alcohol tests are clear. Most impressive.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillors, anyone speaking against the officer's recommendation? Right of reply.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, councillors, if no one is speaking against the officer's recommendation, I will declare carried unanimously 6-0. Next item of business is CEO 02, Schedule of Ordinary Meeting of Council for 2025. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation that lists the dates for ordinary council meetings and for agenda forums and the location and time for where those will be held. Can I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Angus. Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Dewar. Councillor Angus.
Thank you. I'm happy to support this recommendation, having read that public holidays have been taken into consideration, and that December meeting for next year is a little earlier so that it doesn't impact on people's holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Angus. Councillor Dewar.
Yeah, it's all thought-provoking stuff, sorting all this out. But anyway, having said that, I'll support the activities going on here.
Thank you, Councillor Dewar. Very provoking. All right. Councillors, anyone speaking against?
I just have a question.
A question?
Just with regards to the October meetings, I think the Walga Convention's going to be midweek again. Have we taken that into account?
End of September.
It's this time it's after our September council meeting, so it won't be impacted. Our meetings won't be impacted.
Thank you. And then elections are on after the 15th of October, so there will have to be a special council meeting snuck into this agenda. Okay, so just for a record. Don't know whether can we?
No, it depends on whether we have elections.
True. All right, councillors. No one speaking against the officer's recommendation. Councillor Angus doesn't require right of reply. I'll declare carried 6-0 unanimously. Without dissent. Or unanimous dissent. Item 10. Reports of committees. COM 01, Chittering Bushfire Advisory Committee, unconfirmed minutes from Tuesday the 29th of October 24 and scheduling of 2025 meeting dates. Councillors, you have the officer's recommendation. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Curtis. Seconder. Councillor Ross. Councillor Curtis.
I'll support the motion or recommendation, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Councillor Ross.
Thanks, Mr. President. I enjoy attending these meetings and meeting with these people because they're just outstanding members of our community who contribute a great deal. Just a quirky little thing that was raised at the meeting was that the 3G network close is causing issues for some of our firefighting vehicles. So someone will find a solution to that, but you know, some things happen before you see them coming, kind of. And also at this meeting, the dates for next year were set, so they're all kind of up and running. And the scenario for this committee compared to our other committees of council is when they have their final meeting for the year, you usually say thank you for everything you've done this year, have a good holiday and we'll see you next year. For this group, you're saying we hope it's not a bad fire season and they're actually gearing up to the year of their contribution. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillors, anyone speaking against? Anyone wish to speak for? Councillor Curtis, you have right of reply.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Thank you, councillors. Councillors, no one speaking against the officer's recommendation. I'll declare carried unanimously without dissent, 6-0. I knew I was going to get it wrong. All right, that's why I don't say it. Next item of business. COM 02, Local Emergency Management Committee meeting minutes from Wednesday the 28th of August 2024. Councillors, you've got an officer's recommendation. Can I have a mover? Councillor Hughes. Seconder? I'll second that. Councillor King. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Councillor King. I chair this meeting, so I concur that they are an accurate account of the meeting, and pleased to see that some of the training that we've been talking about in these meetings has been included in our WHS ahead of our bushfire season. So I think we're well positioned to be in a good position ahead of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. I'm more than happy to receive the unconfirmed minutes, so thank you for the committee. Councillors, anyone wish to speak against the officer's recommendation? Councillor Hughes, right of reply.
None required.
Thank you. Councillors, if no one's speaking against the officer's recommendation, I'll declare carried unanimously 6-0 without dissent. All right. Item 11, motions of which previous notice has been given. There are nil. Item 12, questions from members without notice. Councillors, are there any questions? Councillor Curtis.
Just one couple of questions. Have we cancelled a licence from a food vendor in Clune Park recently?
Yes.
We have. And what was the reason? Can you tell us?
Sorry, the CEO can answer that.
Thank you, Mr. President. This vendor has been consistently violating our council set policy on trading hours. They've also for a long period in time not traded with a license. Because of certain circumstances, the team has bent over backwards to accommodate them, and they've just thwarted all efforts of the team to work with them. And therefore, because it was a council set policy and they continue to not adhere to it, we've decided to ultimately cancel the license.
Can I tell you the reason?
No?
No.
It's a question. Next question?
Sorry, next
Next
question.
question.
How many doctors are we allowed, should have at Jupiter? Have they got a contract?
The CEO?
The premises are leased by Jupiter Health, and they would appoint as many doctors as they deem necessary for the amount of patients that they've got there. We do not dictate that to them.
Because I've been told by someone who went to the doctors there, and there were no doctors there one day.
I've heard that.
Right? What's that?
I've heard that.
So the answer to your question is that there is no minimum requirement of numbers of doctors in any agreement that we have with Jupiter Health.
What's the point of having the medical centre then?
Another question? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the point of having a medical centre?
It is a lease income to the Shire from our premises.
And I will add that
And-
we need medical, our community need access to medical services, so it is an important service. Any other questions, Councillor?
That's all,
Okay.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Councillors, any other questions?
Perhaps a supplementary question. Is there a minimum requirement of providing a doctor?
Okay, minimum requirement.
I can double check that. As far as I know, there is nothing for our proximity to the city, and it would be a different layer of government that would dictate that. It wouldn't be a local government responsibility, but I will double check that.
Okay, we'll double check that. So you'll double check that with our agreement
Yes.
Yes.
and with Department of Health or whatever it is. Thank you.
But I just want to reiterate that that would be something that I would probably have to take up with state government or with Jupiter Health, and it's not something that we can do something about as a Shire. Providing medical facilities is not part of our realm of responsibility.
Now, I guess in the first instance, just to confirm that if there is a minimum requirement under the lease agreement or under WA Health,
Yes.
and then that probably answers the question. What we do after that's the next step. Understood? No other questions? All right, item 14, meeting closed to the public. Matters for which the meeting may be closed. Councillors, you have an officer's recommendation that council moves into confidential session to discuss the following items. CON 01, transfer of licence. CON 02, request for lease of land, portion of lot 89, Coomal Street, Bindoon. CON 03, Community Citizen of the Year Awards 2025. And CON 04, Education Scholarship Awards. Can I have a mover? We go behind closed doors. Councillor Angus is the mover. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Ross. Right of reply. Sorry, we haven't got to that.
I'm happy to take these items behind closed doors.
Thank you. Councillor Ross. Councillors, anyone speaking against? Okay, councillors, no one speaking against. I will declare the officer's recommendation carried without dissent unanimously, 6-0. Gosh, I did it in there somehow. Are we live? Yep, great. Council's public reading of the resolutions. The first one is that Council in confidential session made the following resolutions. CON 01, transfer of licence, and the recommendation was that Council notes the imminent transfer of a licence agreement for the property identified in attachment 1. In regards to CON 02, request for lease of land.
Can you just say that it was passed?
Okay, sorry. The officer's recommendation that Council notes the imminent transfer of the licence agreement for the property identified in attachment 1 was carried unanimously 6-0. In regards to CON 02, request for lease of land, portion of lot 89, Coomal Street, Bindoon. Council unanimously carried 6-0 that Council provide in principle support for the leasing of approximately 1,200 square metre area of land in the southwest corner of lot 89, Coomal Street, Bindoon, to allow for the proponent to commence investigations outlined in item CON 02, 1124, and to instruct the CEO to advise the proponent that any designs for the proposed development should have significant considerations towards the protection of native vegetation within the proposed lease area. And 3, acknowledge that any further actions relating to this matter will be the subject of future agenda items for Council approval. The next item is CON 03 1124, Community Citizen of the Year Awards 2025, carried unanimously 6-0. The officer's recommendation that confirms the recipients of the Community Citizen of the Year Awards as per attachment 1. The final item was CON 04, Education Scholarship Award 2025, also carried unanimously 6-0. That Council endorsed the recommendation of the Chittering Education Scholarship Advisory Group and award the scholarship as outlined in item CON 04 1124 Education Scholarship Awards 2025. Thank you. Item 15, I declare the meeting closed at 8:49. Thank you.